The sound of my brother's hand striking my 6-year-old daughter's face echoed through the crowded banquet hall like a gunshot. A heavy, suffocating silence fell over 60 wedding guests. Before I could even breathe, my brother laughed loudly into the venue's live microphone, his voice booming over the speakers. Like mother, like daughter, both are completely useless. Across the head table, my father smirked, nodding in agreement as he muttered, "Well, she needed to learn some shame. They thought they had humiliated us. They thought they had won." But what my arrogant family didn't realize was that the microphone wasn't the only thing recording that night. My phone was plugged directly into the venue's master audio system, broadcasting every single word live to over 2 million people. 15 minutes later, 6 police officers marched through the double doors, and the entire room completely froze. My name is Chloe. I'm 28 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I have been the designated outcast of the Whitaker family. To my father, a ruthless property developer who values net worth over human blood, my choice to become a single mother meant I was a permanent stain on his pristine corporate reputation. But if I was the disappointment, my older brother Julian was the undisputed golden boy. At 31, Julian was the crown prince of our family's real estate empire, arrogant, untouchable, and deeply cruel. He wore his tailored suits like armor and treated everyone beneath him like garbage. This brings us to the night the world cracked open, Julian's high-profile engagement party. The venue was a breathtaking crystal chandelier banquet hall, rented to impress 60 of the city's most influential investors, politicians, and socialites. But my father didn't invite me and my 6-year-old daughter, Lily, to celebrate. They forced us to attend for one reason only: to act as unpaid event coordinators. Julian was too cheap to hire a professional venue crew, so he demanded I run the logistics, manage the catering, and ensure the guests were pampered, all while reminding me that I was lucky to even be allowed in the same room as his wealthy associates. I swallowed my pride and wore a simple black dress, determined to just do my job, protect my daughter, and survive the night. But the air in that room was heavy, and the trap was already set. Because Julian refused to pay a professional AV crew, the entire technical setup fell onto my shoulders. He knew I had a background in digital media, so he expected me to manage the venue's complex soundboard, wireless microphones, and lighting grids flawlessly without making a single mistake. It was a stressful task, especially with 60 pairs of judgmental eyes watching my every move from the floor. As I stood in the elevated control booth overlooking the banquet hall, a deep, unsettling anxiety washed over me. I knew my family's patterns all too well. I knew that before the night ended, Julian or my father would find a way to publicly belittle me or my daughter in front of their wealthy peers just to assert their dominance. To protect myself, I decided to set up a safety net. I pulled out my phone and launched a live stream on my personal social media channel, positioning it subtly against the control panel window. But I didn't just stream the video. I took a master auxiliary cable and plugged my phone directly into the venue's main soundboard line. This meant that every single piece of audio going through the house microphones, every speech, every toast, and every whispered comment at the head table would be broadcast to my channel with crystal-clear, studio-quality sound. Before the chaos even erupted, my live chat started exploding with viewers tuning in. Comment below with the city you're watching from right now. Let's see how far this story has traveled across the globe before the real storm hits. As the viewer count rapidly climbed past 10,000, my heart raced, but I felt a strange sense of comfort knowing I wasn't completely alone in that room anymore. The party was in full swing when the nightmare officially began. The servers had just finished clearing the main course, and the room was filled with the loud, clinking sounds of expensive crystal and boastful laughter. My 6-year-old daughter, Lily, had been sitting quietly by my side all evening, behaving like an absolute angel despite the suffocating atmosphere. She asked to go to the restroom, and as she carefully navigated her way around the head table, disaster struck. Her small shoe caught on the edge of the heavy table runner. She stumbled forward, gasping as her tiny hands reached out to catch her balance. In the process, she accidentally bumped right into a display table, sending a full glass of ice water splashing directly over the lap of Julian's custom-tailored designer suit. The entire room went completely quiet as Julian jumped up from his leather chair, his face instantly twisting into a mask of pure, unbridled narcissistic rage. He didn't see a frightened little girl who had made a mistake. He only saw an insult to his fragile ego. Before anyone could even blink, Julian lunged forward and violently struck Lily across the face with an open hand, the force of the slap knocking her onto the marble floor. As my daughter burst into terrified tears, clutching her bruised cheek, Julian didn't show an ounce of regret. Instead, he grabbed the live wireless microphone sitting on the podium. His booming voice echoed over every single speaker in the banquet hall. Like mother, like daughter, both are completely useless. Across the table, my father smirked coldly, nodding along as he muttered, "Well, she needed to learn some shame." As Lily's cries echoed through the stunned silence of the room, a wave of intense fury washed over me, instantly followed by a strange, icy clarity. I didn't break down, and I didn't scream. Instead, my eyes locked onto the glowing red indicator light on the master soundboard inside the control booth. A powerful realization hit me. Julian had spoken those cruel words directly into the high-powered wireless microphone. Because of my technical setup, his loud laugh, the sound of the physical blow, and our father's disgusting validation had all been captured with absolute precision and streamed straight onto my phone's live broadcast. I looked at the phone screen, and the digital firestorm was already raging. The live viewer count had instantaneously spiked from a few thousand to over 2 million active people. The chat was moving so incredibly fast it was an unreadable blur of righteous anger, with millions of viewers witnessing the undeniable evidence of child abuse in real time. Local viewers in the chat were already identifying the exact banquet hall, demanding immediate justice and tagging local authorities. Julian and my father believed they had successfully used their corporate power to humiliate me, but they had actually swallowed a devastating poison pill of their own making. Moving quickly, I locked myself securely inside the AV control booth, isolating myself from the chaotic floor below. With trembling but deliberate fingers, I immediately downloaded the digital master audio recording, saving a permanent copy to an off-site cloud server where they couldn't touch it, and dialed emergency services. The tense silence inside the banquet hall was broken exactly 15 minutes after the incident occurred. The grand, polished double doors at the back of the room burst open with a loud thud, and 6 uniformed police officers marched straight into the venue. The atmosphere instantly shifted from awkward discomfort to absolute shock as the officers fanned out across the marble floor. Julian, recovering quickly from his initial surprise, adjusted his designer jacket and stepped forward with his usual arrogant smile. He looked at the lead officer, assuming his wealthy status and family name would easily shield him from any consequences. My father joined him, crossing his arms and loudly demanding to know why the authorities were disrupting a high-profile corporate event. Julian pointed a finger toward the control booth and told the officers that it was simply a private family matter, claiming that his unstable sister was causing a scene and needed to be forcefully removed from the premises. But the lead officer didn't move toward me. Instead, he looked directly at Julian and announced that they weren't there because of a domestic disturbance call from inside the building. They had received dozens of urgent emergency dispatches from citizens across the city who were actively watching a live social media broadcast. I stepped out of the booth, holding my tablet tightly in my hands, and walked down the stairs to meet them. With 60 wealthy investors watching in total disbelief, I pulled up the crystal-clear audio file and played the recording of the assault and the verbal abuse out loud for the officers. The undeniable evidence echoed through the speakers one more time, and the entire room completely froze. The icy silence in the banquet hall shattered the moment the lead officer ordered Julian to turn around and place his hands behind his back. The arrogant smirk vanished from my brother's face, replaced by a look of sheer, unadulterated panic as the metal handcuffs clicked tightly around his wrists. He was led out of his own engagement party in front of his wealthy investors, political allies, and his completely horrified fiancée, who looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. But the humiliation was only the beginning of their nightmare. By the next morning, the live stream recording had completely leaked to the local news channels, spreading across social media like wildfire. The public outrage was immediate and devastating. The family's major property development partners, eager to save their own corporate reputations from the radioactive fallout of child abuse, pulled out of all joint ventures by noon. My father tried to issue a public relations statement to contain the damage, but the sudden, intense public scrutiny caught the attention of federal regulators. An emergency audit was launched into our family's real estate empire, quickly uncovering the extensive wire fraud, forged signatures, and embezzled client funds that Julian and his business associates had been desperately hiding for years. Facing millions of dollars in sudden legal fees, immediate contract cancellations, and a massive criminal investigation, my father's multi-million-dollar business completely collapsed into bankruptcy within weeks, proving that their corrupt empire was built on nothing but lies. 3 months after that explosive night, the dust had finally settled, and my life looked completely unrecognizable. I used the substantial revenue generated from my viral social media platform and subsequent media appearances to cut ties with my toxic family permanently. Lily and I packed our bags and moved to a charming coastal town, where we bought a beautiful house overlooking the ocean. For the first time in my life, my daughter was safe, happy, and thriving in a home filled with genuine love rather than constant judgment. Meanwhile, justice caught up with my family. Julian's high-priced defense lawyers couldn't save him from the undeniable digital evidence. He was convicted of assault, stripped of his real estate license, and sentenced to extensive court-mandated anger management and community service. His fiancée left him weeks ago, taking her family's wealthy connections with her. My father, completely ruined by the corporate fraud investigation, was forced to liquidate his remaining personal assets to pay off aggressive creditors, moving from his luxury estate into a tiny rental apartment. They thought power belonged to whoever yelled the loudest, but they forgot that the truth always finds a way out. Now, I want to ask you, do you think the punishment fit the crime, or did my family get off too easy for what they did to Lily? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to support our journey, and check out the next incredible story of sweet justice that is playing right now on your screen. Thank you for listening to my story.